So hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be using a knife. I'm peeling coffee. So anyway, grab your coffee, and if you wanted to share one with me while at it, links for that down below. And we are going to be talking about education in the past and things that were taught long time ago and things that were allowed in the schools long time ago and they are not allowed in the school anymore. And obviously this is because times change and all of these things, but anyway, it's important to understand a lot of things, including but not limited to the levels of the society that you're in. So right now, like I said, society can be up to level 7, and if you are in level 7, obviously you want to try to have the education system going to level 7. But in some instances, education is just in a minus level. The reason being is that your brain does not necessarily work in terms of the same level as society. Meaning, there are certain ages for understanding and learning certain things. So, for example, you cannot teach a toddler how to drive, or you cannot teach law and shoot and things that are about hunting animals and things like this to kids who are 5, for example. And so this means that there must be a biological age, because certain things are depending on your age, like drinking, driving, and so forth. And you're not supposed to be teaching kids about sex unless they are at least 15 years old. And even when you are talking to the kids in terms of teaching them family planning and all of that, it should be done in a way that enhances their perspective and prospective in society, not to the agenda of any kind of group, not even if it is a Christian group or whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it is a religion group or if it is an atheist group. The point is, you are supposed to be striving towards getting proper skills that are for survival, values, and towards biological connections and things like this. Now, having said that, then let's start by saying that very, very, very long time ago, education was only meant for boys, not girls. Then through a lot of effort and a lot of things, women were finally allowed to be at the school. And then they were allowed in the schools primary, but they were not allowed into universities. So finally they were also allowed in universities. And the inclusion or exclusion of women have different effects on education, because it was proven that when you have groups that are mixed in terms of education, it's an issue, because a lot of the times men, as in the teenage boys, mostly the teenage boys, when they are learning and they have to try to do things, they are less likely to try them if they are with girls surrounding them. Reason being, they are afraid of looking stupid, or they are afraid of looking bad in front of girls, especially if it is the girl that they like. However, if it was in a school that is only men, as in boys only, the situation becomes more daring, because it's kind of like, I can do it there, I dare you, and there is more competition. This also means that there is more bullying behind, and then no one will tell you, because if you are a man, you're not telling everybody else that other men are bullying you. And so the bullying that happens in those schools is hidden deeper. However, the probability of success later on for them is higher because most men will try to pick up groups, and then when men are going into groups, they have a high tendency to achieve things that they are higher. However, when they are with women, they are going to try to compete for women, and therefore the probability of them forming groups and forming bonds and things like this is lower. And so when they were talking about the girls that were only girls in the school, this was proven that the girls, when they were testing in competitions, they their statistics went beyond the recognition of everybody else, because nobody was expecting that the girls actually exceeded in math. They were like pure geniuses to a certain point. However, they were shy. They were having other issues, like they did not do certain things that is associated with traditional women, and it was kind of like a problem, because it was, in a sense, a liberation for them. They felt different. And then these type of women, when they grow up and all of these things, had also other issues because they were competing against other women. And when you are among women and you're competing with other women, that's not the same as you having men who are competing against other men. And when these women were competing with other women, they were very, very, very crazy, and that is why they were very, very smart. However, they were exceeding, like I said, but they also lacked social skills, certain social skills. They were just not there anymore. And it turns out that they were better professionals, the women that studied with only women. They were more polite with other men, but they were not as their counterparts, and in terms of getting contracts or whatever it was, because they were not so much into social skills as the group that was mixed. So when there was mixture, women developed social skills way faster and way better than men and than the other groups. However, when they were alone, women did not develop social skills that much, and it was an issue. But in terms of academia and you being able to do a work, the women who were always alone, working with other women, were exceeding, and they were able to do a lot of things that was beyond the understanding of the studies that they were doing. And at this point, you gotta pick whether you want your kid to be in a school for women, if she is a woman, or for men, or mixed. If it is mixed, you will see that, like I said, women will create, you will create different type of base for them. And if you want them to be more aware and connected with their intuition and things like this, is better to have a mixture, because that way they will develop more social skills. However, here is the kicker: the social skills that they learn in the school, they are no longer there. Reason being is that everything nowadays is done through social media, and no one knows, no one seems to know what the school rules are. And when you have kids that go to a place and they do not know the social structure, or they do not know the rules, or they don't care, they don't know, and they won't bother to even learn, and then the parents are not involved, and at the same time the parents don't care, and all of these things, then the situation is ironical, because now you are sending the kid to school so that they can learn social skills, and they are learning nothing of the sort. and you're also trying to teach them academical stuff, and they're also not learning that. So basically, you are sending the kid to school to be bullied, and you're also sending the kid to school to have fun, kind of thing, because there is no structure for studying, and there is no structure for the teachers to do their job. Reason being is that other parents are not like you, and so when the parents are not involved and they are thinking that everything is the responsibility of the school, and the teachers are not honest with the parents because they can't, or because they just are too fed up, or they just are afraid to do it, then you have a bigger problem, because the kid is going to graduate and you as a parent are thinking that the objectives were accomplished. In reality, they didn't. And so at this point, from the 1970s, so not right now, almost like 50 years ago or something like that, okay, long time ago, the US government, I mean, there was a bigger problem in education, and the US government actually started spending money into studying men, not students, men, grown-up men who were 20 and 25 and 25 to 30, because these men, according to the companies, were unemployable. And they were kind of like, what do you mean they are unemployable? They are supposed to, they graduated from universities. If you are graduating people from the university, isn't the university like a tool so that you can get better and you can make more money? You see, there is a big problem here for the US government, and that's why they got involved. And that is, if you are unemployed, you're probably asking government assistance and all kinds of things. And on top of that, you're not getting married, you're not having kids, you are not spending. And on top of that, if you are not into these kind of traditional roles, which is the norm, you are supposed to have like your partner, you're supposed to fall in love, travel, spend money, you're supposed to make money, you're supposed to be kind of happy, okay? If you're not kind of happy, then the government cannot tax you, okay? So basically, if you're kind of poor and unemployed and all of that, then you are a burden to the government, because now the government has to help you, has to help the women, have to help the kids, have to help virtually every single person that there is, because men, not women, men are the base of taxing and society. And so now, they started taxing women, which was insane because women didn't pay taxes before. And then now you're taxing everybody, but you're getting less and less and less money because nobody's working. And if nobody's working, companies are not making money. If companies are not making money, they're also not paying taxes. And so, oh hell, if it is about you have to make money so that I can tax you, oh hell, the government is going to get involved, and they're going to fix it no matter what. And they're going to fire whoever is responsible for this mess because they can't tax people. so this is like a big problem, okay? If people are unemployable, then that means no taxes. If it means no taxes, yeah. And so, I mean, it's a very big deal, right? And so the government was studying, why the hell are men failing? Honest to God, what the hell? I mean, you graduated from the freaking university, so what the hell is wrong with you? And it turns out that when you focus too much on the academical aspects, then you become kind of like an idiot. Meaning you can be extremely smart in terms of passing a test or something like this. However, if you are unable to accomplish simple daily tasks, or you are unable to comprehend social rules, then it's going to become a problem, because you will be unemployable. Okay. Let's say that you want to hire anyone, but it turns out that you tell them this is a lunch where you are supposed to, drink your coffee with your friends or whatever in your break. And then the person goes in there and creates a fire because they are trying to put the coffee with the spoon and everything in the microwave. And then now the company got on fire because men do not know that they are supposed to use a microwave only for microwavable kind of items and nothing has metal on it. As soon as you step metal into the microwave will very likely explode and create a fire on the process. And then it potentially destroys the entire building. And then even if it doesn't, you will still need to call the fire department and you will still interrupt at least, let's say, 6 hours or maybe a whole week or a whole day while the fire department works and they figure out what the hell happened. Because you didn't know that you're not supposed to put metal in a microwave. And you're an adult. This is something that you in the school they're not going to tell you. You're supposed to learn that in your house. Problem. Not all houses have microwave. And so, see, at this point, they were talking, I'm not talking microwaves in the 1970s or 80s. I'm talking things that were similar in nature. They were talking about a lot of things that were related to household education. Like, you're supposed to develop the discipline of cleaning after yourself. You are supposed to develop the discipline of greeting people properly. As in the norms for greeting people. You don't know them, and a lot of people don't know them, but I'm going to tell you. When you are going into the classroom, for example, you are supposed to stand up and wait for the teacher to let you sit down. And then you're thinking that's tyrannical. Okay, so here is a problem with you not learning that. When you are at your job and your boss shows up with the president of the company or whatever, or you have anyone important coming near you, as in somebody who has hierarchy that deserves you stopping the time to stop, just so that they can, because their time is more valuable than yours, because they are making way more money, and because whatever decision they have to make, they need to make it fast, or they need to talk fast, and they need to do everything fast, because whatever they do affects hundreds, if not all, the freaking employees in the company. So you cannot make everyone wait for you in the company unless you're the CEO. So you need to learn that this is not just because they have a higher hierarchy. It's because when you have a teacher that comes into the classroom, whatever the teacher says, it involves every other student, not just you. So you are not doing this because the teacher is better or tyrannical or whatever. It's because you are showing that you respect your fellow students by saying, I'm stopping, so that everyone stops, so that we can all pay attention to the message that it is for all of us, not just me. If it was for everyone, then the teacher will stop the class and say, hey, I'm seeing you after class, that's it. Then nobody has to stay, just you. But other than that, if the teacher says, this is a class, this is for everybody, then everyone has to be on board. If you have one of the students in your classroom, let's say that you have 20 students in the classroom, and one of them goes, oh, I'm going to throw a party, the other 19 students who paid for the class, or who are there because they actually want to study, or because of whatever, you are disrespecting them. And you, worse, are disrespecting whoever is supporting you so that you can get that job done. Meaning, Okay, you are a guy who is there. You are disrespecting your wife who is at home cleaning or doing whatever it is, taking care of the kids and all of those things, because she's expecting you to be there and making money, and that you cannot do that if you don't know how to play by the rules of teamwork and respect each other's time. And you don't learn that if you are unable to greet people properly. And that means stop when you have somebody who has bigger fish to fry than you. They rule. It doesn't matter whether they are a jerk, they are lesbian, she's a woman, she sucks, I hate her, whatever it is, I don't care. Your personal feelings have to be set aside because you have bigger fish to fry. And the bigger fish to fry is everyone is counting on you. You to be quiet, and you paying attention, and you respecting the rules, the unwritten rules. And the unwritten rules means shut up and sit down and pay attention. And if the teacher says you are supposed to give the assignment today, respect that, not because of the teacher, but because here's the deal with you not understanding deadlines and things like this when you are in the school. When you grow older and you have a boss, and the boss says the presentation is in 2 days, and then in the school you will always, oh, I'm going to talk to the teacher, I'm sick, I don't care, I'm going on vacation, whatever. When everybody else comes for the company and everybody is expecting you to do your part in the presentation, you have your co-workers counting on you. If you show up and say, oh boss, I didn't do it, why? Well, I was busy, I have personal problems, whatever. Today we have the big client. We have the big client coming for the presentation. What do you mean? The presentation is not done. Oh, and then the big client shows up. There is no presentation. You lost a contract, and now virtually, and I'm not joking, virtually and literally, half the company has to get fired because you didn't get the contract because you didn't do the presentation on time. So, do the teachers have to be very strict? Yes. Why? Because if you don't learn these skills for managing your time, for being responsible and doing all of these things on time, and if you have a parent that goes, oh, but it doesn't matter, you can do it later, blah, blah. Okay, so I have a question. What happens when you go to 5 jobs and every single time that you show up, you're late, and then you get fired 5 times? You're an adult. Now your parents are not going to support you and your wife and your kids. And your pets and your parties or whatever it is that you have. And now you're about to go homeless because you can't keep a job. You are unemployable. And why? Because you didn't learn greeting properly. Because you didn't learn being on time with managing and projects, which means that you don't respect teamwork and you don't respect schedules and you don't respect anything else. And on top of that, you now get your parents involved into a fight defending you for being lazy. So, are you going to have your parents sue the company that hired you because you didn't do the presentation because you were lazy or because of whatever? I mean, I understand that there are emergencies that there is no way. For example, if today is your presentation, but your mom is in the hospital and she's about to be dead. Oh, hell no, you're choosing your mom. That's it. I get it. Okay, I'm sorry, because this was something that was beyond my hands. This was like God's destiny kind of thing, okay? It's like you have the presentation and today there was an earthquake and now there is no office. Okay, so there are major things that are way out of your league. somebody's dying on you, somebody, there is nature's is going against you. There was a flood, there was an earthquake, there was a fire, there was a volcano exploding. Hell, for all I know, the aliens decided to show up exactly when you were doing this presentation. So okay, you are excused. But so the zombies showed up that day. Okay, you are excused. But other than that, you can't say something like, okay, so the iguana showed up. My dog decided to eat my work or my homework or whatever it is. I mean, even if it's true, which I can attest to the fact that can happen because I have seen it happening, still, if you know that you have a dog that can eat your freaking homework, you protect your homework. Because it is your dog, it is your responsibility. So now you have double responsibility. The responsibility with your family and the responsibility with your pets. As in, you're supposed to get the presentation done because otherwise you won't get money to feed your kids and your family. And now you have the responsibility with your pet that doesn't know what the hell they are doing. But they are your pet. And so when you have education, the school has rules and you need to learn how to follow them. There are procedures. There are handbooks written about the school because each school will have certain rules. For example, if you're late, you need to have a pass because otherwise you're not entering the school. If you have this, then you need that. If you have that, then you need this. If whatever. And you need to know all those rules. And you need to sit down and discuss them with your family. If you decide, or for whatever reason, you don't learn the rules for the school, rules for being late, rules for when you have conflict with other students, rules for when you have conflict with teachers, rules for when there is a conflict between parents, rules when there, I know, and they are supposed to be written. If they are not written, then go to the school and ask. Even for emergencies, there is a procedure, okay? And so it is very, very, very important that you understand these procedures and these things, and they are there for a reason. So you can learn all you want, or you can, you can do the best math ever, but if you don't understand dress codes, if you don't understand hierarchies, if you don't understand cleanliness, if you don't understand sharing things with other people, like spaces, time, other services, or whatever it is, you're probably going to be unattachable to your groups and things like this, and then you are going to have a hard time with society. When you have a hard time with society, that's not entirely your fault, it's also society's fault, but you need to understand that has consequences. And the consequences are going to be, the government is going to be on your case because they cannot tax you and they cannot make money out of you, and you are actually costing them money, which means that you are a big headache. If you're a big headache, I don't need to tell you all of the bad things that can happen. And anyway, it's starting to rain and I gotta go. So, having said that, then I hope that this video was helpful and makes you want to think and makes you want to print the handbook for the school if you are deciding to take the kids to school. If you decide not to take the kid to school, then understand what you need to teach them so that they can be employable, which is the whole point of education, and they can be in society, as in they can develop within society in a normal, smooth way, which is extremely important for their mental stability and for their emotional stability and for all kinds of stabilities, including economical and in terms of partnership and in terms of being a better example for their kids and all of these things, which is important. Because if your kid learns that being unemployed is okay, screaming to everybody is okay, just not caring and not being on time and just saying whatever to everything, it's a problem. It's a bigger problem than you think, and it is costing the every government in the entire planet trillions. Do you have any idea how many zeros is that? Trillions of dollars. So it's a serious matter. It's no joke. Unfortunately, no one seems to care anymore. I don't know why. But if you want to care about money and things like this later, you want to learn about education, and you want to learn what is it that you really need later on, and what is the best way to get it. Is it you sharing with other women? Is it you sharing with mixed groups? Is it you sharing with other men? Is it you sharing with people that are the same level as you or people that are better than you? Or is it you teaching people who are lower than you but you need them to be as high as you? And what kind of things do you want for each group? If you're in a group to learn about plants, then you want people who are passionate about plants. You don't want people that go to the class or go to the meetings and start saying, oh, the makeup that we had in that party was awesome, and things like this. If society goes into that way, in which you are saying your objective is plants, but you go there to discuss the political party's leader, social life, and what they were wearing and things like this, or worse, if you're there talking about plants and then you start deviating to the point in which you are saying plants have the same rights as human beings, and then the plants should have political and representatives around the politicians and blah blah blah, and now you created a whole new system in which you didn't fix the proper system, but rather now you're creating a new one that is working with the same system that doesn't work. Which we are doing that, by the way. Yeah, and then you're wondering what the hell is wrong with education. The problems with education lie within a lot of things that we don't know how to connect. And hopefully you will understand that one when you have proper objectives and when you understand keywords. Are you employable? And are you okay about it?